morning and welcome to the Kids Corner. I'm Paula Reed and thanks for joining us this morning. I have got some great co-hosts and we've got a great show lined up for you. And right now I'd like for you to meet them and I'll let them introduce themselves. Hi there.
Hi, I'm Jessie Eaton and I'm in second grade and
How old are you?
I'm 7 years old.
And where do you go to school?
Parkview Elementary.
Wonderful. Would you like to go over and stand by our guest? Hi there.
Hi, I'm Michael and I'm in 4th grade and I go to Parkview Elementary.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Michael. Step right on up.
Hi, my name's Wes and I go to Billdale Elementary and I'm 7 years old.
Well, thank you, Wes. Hi there.
Hi, my name's Shaylin Lynch and I'm in 2nd grade and I go to East Henley Elementary.
Wonderful. And last but not least, hi there.
Hi, my name's Reed. I'm 12 years old and I go to Sterrett Elementary.
Reed, thanks for joining us this morning. And right now, we would all like to welcome Joyce Williams from the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. Joyce, thanks for joining us this morning, and we are all ready to find out some of the fascinating artifacts you brought for us from the Museum of Science and History.
Good morning. Have you all ever invented anything?
No.
No?
Kind of.
Kind of.
What made you want to invent something? Did you have a job to do? Were you trying to do
I
something?
was just playing around with stuff.
What did you invent?
Oh, I can't remember now.
You don't remember? Well, I brought some things today that people have invented. Most of the time, inventions come from people having a job they need to do or wanting something that will help them do something a little easier or a little differently. So let's look at some of these inventions and see if we can make some discoveries about them. Let's look at this big one right here first so we can move it down out of the way. What do you think that's made out of?
Metal.
It's made out of metal or iron. Why do you think it has this on the top of it?
Looks like a shoe.
Looks like a shoe. So what would you guess that maybe that was going to help you do?
What do you think?
Have any ideas? This, what do you have?
Maybe it's to hold a shoe.
It would hold a shoe here a long, long time ago when people had their shoes get holes in them or come apart. They often repaired them themselves at home. And they had a little tool like this that's called a shoe last that they could use to repair their shoe. You put your shoe on there upside down, and then you could hammer or tack or sew or do whatever you needed to. Let's pass that big one down out of the way.
And Reed and
here.
I will take care of it down here. How about that?
Well, let's look at an invention that maybe is a little newer. You ever seen anything that looks like this before?
Yeah, Reed's got something like that on his foot because he hurt his foot.
That's right. It's a kind of a foot covering, isn't it? It's made out of really lightweight but really strong material and has something really special on the bottom of it. Look at this right here. You ever seen anything like that before?
No, it looks like you need to put it on here and fix the hole in the bottom of it.
It's the same as this.
What is that called, Reed?
What is this?
Velcro.
Velcro. Couple of inventions here. Who might have worn this? Somebody that needed to keep their foot... An astronaut. You've got it. This was worn by the astronauts who went to the moon on the Apollo missions, and they wore this when they were inside the spaceship to keep them in place, because when you're in space, what happens to you?
Weightless.
You're weightless and you just float around. So if you've got a job to do and you need to stay at a certain place, you've got to have some way to stay there. And someone got the idea of building their shoe with Velcro on the bottom and the other piece of Velcro where they needed to do. That's a pretty good idea. And Velcro itself is an invention. A man was walking in the mountains in Switzerland a long time ago, and he got those little burrs in his sock. Have you ever done that? Mm-hmm. And that gave him the idea of making a fastener that would hook to something that would be different than a zipper or other. So he invented Velcro. It got used a little bit until the space program came along, and it got used a lot. I bet you all have had shoes that have Velcro closures and things.
We have a lot of sneakers and things like that that have Velcro on the top.
Let's look at another invention. Somebody said they liked this one right here. Why don't you take that one in your hands and show me what you might do with that invention?
What do you think you might do, Wes?
Just guess. It's made out of wood, isn't it? And what else? What are these pieces? Metal. You've already got the idea there.
Kind of a piano?
It's a kind of a piano. It's called a kalimba.
Can you hold that so the boys and girls at home, Wes, can see it? And then kind of show how you do your fingers.
You were doing the right way on this end. You had it right, what way you were holding it. We sometimes call them thumb pianos. This one's from Africa. And sometimes people play them by themselves or in groups. And you plunk the...
Can you plunk it kind of hard? That's interesting.
And this one has other pieces of tin or metal that make noise out of it. All right, let's pick another invention. Someone
we
said
were
they
playing with
really
that
liked
before the
this
show.
one. Well, actually, we were playing like it was a microphone. I guess we could do that, couldn't we? What else might this one be used for, you think? Got any ideas?
Shake it up and down.
You can shake it up and down like a
What do you
musical
think it might be,
instrument.
Shaylin?
You want to look at it?
Something to bake with?
How would you bake with this? You want to take it over there? It's all made out of wood, and so... Oh, you're going to mix something.
Do you think
with
we could mix or
what
stir with
do you think
it?
you're going to mix with that?
What do you think, Reading, we might
Egg.
You could mix
eggs?
You could
Yep.
mix eggs. That's a batidor. That's the name of it. It's from Mexico, and it's used for mixing something that is wonderful. Chocolate.
Ooh, we like that.
Mix that chocolate all up. Do you ever drink milk chocolate or chocolate drinks? You mix it all up, and it makes it all frothy and good. And that's a batidor is for that reason. And that's all carved out of one piece of wood. Even the parts that twirl around all came from the same piece of wood. So
That's
people were
fascinating.
really creative, weren't they?
What else have we got over there?
Do you ever take a bath?
Yes.
Oh, well,
add
good.
that to
Do
your
you use
collection?
soap?
Yes.
And what do you do when the soap gets down where it's little bitty pieces?
Throw it away.
Throw it away. That's what we do with them. A long, long time ago, when you had to make all your soap yourself, you just couldn't run down to the store and buy it, or when soap was kind of scarce, you probably wanted to save all those little pieces of soap. But you know those little pieces don't work very well. So someone had the idea of taking a little basket like this. You can put all of your little pieces of soap in there, close it back up, hook it back down, and then you can foam up the water in the bathtub or the sink where you're washing the dishes. And this is a soap saver and a soap user. How
One of
about
the
that?
original recycling pieces.
Yes, yes, it really is. How about this one here?
That looks pretty vicious.
What do you think that's made?
A hammer?
Looks kind of like a hammer.
What do you think it's made out of? Bone.
Bone. It is. This is the bone of an animal. This is not bone. Can you tell what it is by looking a little closer?
Rock.
It's rock, and it's rock that has been shaped so that you can use it. Now, who might have needed to use something to scrape like this?
Indians.
Indians, yes.
Very good.
This is a scraper that was used to prepare buffalo or bison hides to use for all the things that the Plains Indians needed to use them for. Made out of a bone, stone, and this is part of the animal here that's called sinew. It's the same part in people that's called tendons.
That is amazing. Can you pass that down here? And Shaylin and Reed and I can
Good,
take a look
yes.
at that. There you go.
Now look at this. Did you think we just forgot and put this out here?
I thought maybe you had something to drink before the show started, Joyce.
Well, what does this look like to you?
A cup.
You know, we often don't think about just the ordinary things we use all the time being inventions. Well, someone had to get the idea of making a cup out of paper at one time. Someone else got the idea of taking that cup and putting something over it that made it where it would hold hot things and cold things. And the feel of that, it feels kind of slick. So that is an invention
It
that
is.
someone did. Here's an invention that we use all the time.
Couldn't be without those. What are
What
those?
is this?
Right.
Do you know that
Safety pins.
safety pins have been around for thousands and thousands of years?
Now, how is that possible,
Now,
Joyce?
this one's made out of stainless steel. So what do you think they might have been made out of a long, long time ago? Thousands of years ago.
What do you think?
What'd you say?
Rock.
Glock?
Rock?
Rock?
Rocks?
Rock? Uh-huh.
What, are
else?
some other things?
Metal.
Wire?
Wires or metal when people had invented and learned how to make that. Stone, bone, all of those things you could use to make what we now call a safety pin.
Joyce, we have a couple of minutes left, and you might want to touch base on these two things. But before we get too far, we do want to let the boys and girls at home know some of the things we know about that are going on at the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History.
Well, we certainly do. We have a lot of exciting exhibits at the museum all the time, and this spring we have two really special ones. One is called The Dinosaurs of Jurassic Park, and the other one is called Thundering Hooves. And you'll probably want to come out and see both of those. And on April 16th and 17th, we have a special program connected with Thundering Hooves. We're going to have a lot of people with their horses there who are living history people from Fort Concho in San Angelo. And they'll show us what it was like to be a frontier soldier in the 1880s in Texas.
Marvelous. If we need more information about the activities at the museum, would you mind giving us the phone number where we can call?
817-732-1631.
Very good. And we have two last things. You want to give us a hint on what those are?
Oh, you all want to take a look at this one?
One of them we know is an iron, but this one is one we were wondering about. What do you think that is?
What would you do with this? It's made out of iron or metal. It's got a sharp edge there on it, doesn't it? Does it remind you of anything you might use around your house?
What could that be, Joyce?
A what?
Saw.
Kind of like a saw. See this sharp point here? Grating cheese or peeling something. And this one has a little clue on it. I like, what does that say? A woman's invention. 1898. We think this is a kitchen tool that was probably used to peel potatoes or something. See, it's sharp right there?
That's amazing.
But we're not real sure how it was used. And we're not real sure what these things were for either. You could sharpen a pencil, but I think it's probably more useful for peeling carrots or potatoes or some things like that.
Joyce, I hate to admit it, but we are all out of time. And what do we say to Joyce for joining us today?
Thank you for
That's right. That's right. Will you come back and visit us
You
again?
bet. Thanks for
Well,
having
good.
me.
We're going to help you get all these things cleared up. And then our friend Dolores France has joined us with a springtime craft. Okay? Let's go with her now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Before the show, Reed and I were talking about how sometimes, this time of year particularly, we don't have many activities we can do with younger brothers and sisters or cousins or things like that. And so joining us right now to help us solve our dilemma is Dolores France from Imagine That. Dolores, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
What do you have that you can help Reed and me out
Well,
with?
we thought kind of feeling kind of springy. I drove down to East Texas last weekend. I saw all the flowers alongside of the road, the wildflowers, and the pretty birds, and I thought, well, we need to do something for spring. So we're going to make little birds out of cupcake papers.
Okay.
Now, these are real simple and very inexpensive because you get a whole lot of these in one package.
Moms and dads like inexpensive.
You bet.
And before we get too far, I do want to let you know this is the little information sheet that tells you all the instructions, what we're going to be doing here today in just a few minutes. But if you send Dolores a stamped, self-addressed envelope, she will send you the instructions for this. And could you give us the address where they can write?
Yes. If you'll write to Imagine That, Post Office Box 331646, Fort Worth, Texas 76163.
Great. And we'll give you that address again. But we want to get started on the craft. And here we go.
Okay. The first thing we're going to do is, this is nice because we're not using glue today. Now, these can be
I like
glued,
that.
but you really don't have to, so it's much less messy. And we're going to draw onto this cupcake paper. We're going to open it up and flatten it out and then fold it in half. And then we're going to draw the little bird's head and his beak right here on the side. And then we're going to use some safety scissors, which works just fine on this lightweight paper, and cut out the little head. And kids, if you want to take your items out of your little packets there, you can start and work along with me. And we're just going to cut, going to cut this little head and beak out on one side.
I like these safety scissors because they're kind of flying over that end of the table.
That's right. So now we have it at this stage. Then we're going to take a pencil and draw an eye. And I'm going to put one on both sides of his head so he can see both directions.
And we want to be sure and keep up with our little scraps of paper and stuff and clean up when we always get through.
And then we're going to open this up just slightly, and on this end where the tail is going to go, we're going to make a small snip on that fold right there. Everybody see that? And that will be the place we're going to put the tail. Then we're going to take a second cupcake paper, we're going to flatten it out a little bit, and we're going to fold it in half, just as we did the first time. Then we're going to fold it in half again, and that's going to give us a quarter.
Okay.
We're going to open our little bird up here, and we're going to put that tail in place like this. Then, and you could use glue if you wanted to, but it's real simple to use a stapler. Now, this is a tool that if the children haven't used it before, Mom and Dad will want to show them how to use it and show them how to be safe with it. You just don't want to put your fingers inside the stapler. Okay, we've
Keep
got
the
his,
fingers out of the stapler.
that's
Is that what
right.
we're doing? Okay, gotcha.
We've got his tail in place, and now we're going to put his wings on. We're going to take a third cupcake paper and open it out. We're going to fold it in half again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to cut it in half along that fold line so that we've got 2 halves. Now we're going to fold this in thirds. Now this is good because it gives the children a chance to kind of work with their math a little bit.
Oh, great. That left me out.
Right. We're going to fold the second one in thirds also, and that'll give us 2 little triangles.
Got it?
Then we're going to hold these in place, one on each side of the bird. I placed one, and I'm going to place the second one. And we're going to make them go up and down like this on the bird. You can see how it looks. And we're going to put our stapler on, and we're going to staple through both wings and the body of the bird. Then we can fold our wings down, and you've got your little bird with 2 wings and a tail. Now, to hang him on our tree that we've got here, or if you wanted to put him on a pencil and make him fly, or even make a mobile out of these, they would be really neat to hang up in your bedroom using straws. All you have to do is poke a hole, and I happen to have a small hole punch here that makes a small little hole. And I'm going to make a small hole right behind the wings near that fold. Okay. And I'll share my punch with you all so you can use it too.
Now, before we go to punching all sorts of things in the house, we want to make sure we have some supervision on that. Okay.
The hole punch also might be a tool that the children haven't used before. And it's really neat because you can make confetti with it.
Ooh.
You really can.
But
that can also be very, very messy to clean up. So be sure that Mom knows that you're using that hole punch. Now that makes the bird balance, and we're going to string a small string, and I've got some black crochet thread here, and I've got about 8 inches of it, and I'm going to string it through the little punched hole that I made and tie it so that that way you can hang him on your little tree to make a decoration, or you can make a mobile out of it, and you could do that by using straws and your thread to do it with.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have about 2 minutes left, and I do want to give the boys and girls at home the address where you can get, and I'll hold this up one more time, the instructions for our paper baking cup birds today, and be sure and include a stamped, self-addressed envelope, okay?
And it's Imagine That, Post Office Box 331646, Fort Worth, Texas, 76163.
Outstanding. And folks, what do we say to Dolores for joining us today?
Thank you.
That's right. That's
You're
right.
welcome.
And Dolores, real quick, we have just about 30 seconds. Run through the ingredients that we will need for it.
Really, all we need is 3 of these little paper baking cups.
Okay.
And they also make these in metallic, too. So if you want to get really fancy, they would be pretty on a Christmas tree. And you need a 8-inch piece of string, a stapler, and a pencil, and a pair of safety scissors, and that's all you need.
That is wonderful. We do appreciate you joining. I think, Reed, we can deal with this. We've got it. We can handle this, and now we've got an activity for our younger friends. And we've got to get ready now because Wes brought his mom today, Dr. Glennis Roth, and she has a very special new friend, kind of a large friend, that she's going to introduce to all of us. I wonder if he, what is his name, Gulliver? Is that right? I wonder if Gulliver would like the little birds.
Yeah, he would. I think so.
Okay, we'll be right back. That is very good. You want to put the string through? Well, joining us right now is our friend Dr. Glennis Roth from the Richland Animal Hospital. Dr. Roth, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
We're all gathered around because you can see the back end of our friend right here.
Big boy.
Yes, and this is a big, pretty boy, and you're going to tell us about him.
Yes, this is Gulliver, and he's a greyhound. He's a racing greyhound, or he was a racing greyhound. He's representing a real need that we have right now to find homes for these greyhounds. Shaylin was going to say a little bit about greyhounds for us, if she can kind of
do that? Can you tell us about it? Gulliver is your dog, isn't he? Okay, tell us a little bit about Gulliver.
Greyhounds have served men as companions and hunters for almost 5,000 years. They are sight hounds, which means they hunt by sight rather than by smell. They can run almost 45 miles per hour. Although they run very fast, they are very gentle and make excellent home pets.
Wonderful. Well, we'd like to find out a little bit about how you can have a greyhound as a home pet, because
Right.
most of us, when we think of a greyhound, we either think of a bus or we think of a,
Yeah, that's true.
of a racetrack, you know, and
Well,
at our age, we don't really go around too many racetracks, Dr.
No,
Roth.
no, we don't.
Thank you.
We have a name that I believe they're going to put up for us, of a name and an address, a telephone number that we can contact to find out about greyhounds that need new homes. Greyhounds are bred. There's about 60,000 bred a year that are produced.
That seems like an awful lot more than it's going to raise.
And about 40,000 are actually raced. Those that are really good are raced until they're about 5 years old. Those that are not as good may never race if they just aren't built right for it or just not coordinated enough to do so, and they need homes because the people who are in the business aren't about to feed them and take care of them in the manner that they need to grow up and be in a loving family. They are wonderful pets, Paula.
Okay.
People shouldn't think that they need lots and lots of room, although they do like to run. They also love to go for walks. They're great with, as Shaylin said, they're great family pets, very affectionate.
Would Gulliver like to move around and we can
Oh, he
pet him
loves
so that,
all children.
And they're so big. Now, one of the things that you've told us about, and you mentioned feeding and everything, do they have any special requirements since they have been racing dogs? I'm sure that's one of the things maybe the folks at home would like to know, because he's just great. I mean, he's like one of the big old soft dogs
And
you brought.
he's bigger than, they come in all sizes. He's on the big side of them, and he's 6 years old. The special requirements, they need lots of love when they're first adopted, especially if they're right off the track. They can be a little more high-strung, not quite as socialized, but by and large, those that I've experienced and been around here lately have been wonderful, wonderful pets and do real well, adapt very well into the family situation.
And I like his
recommend
necktie,
them more
too.
highly. And they are desperately in need of homes. We don't want them being euthanized just because they no longer can race. An interesting thing that we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but racing dogs wear muzzles.
Yeah.
And the reasons that they wear a muzzle is not because they're aggressive or because they bite, or if they're going to hurt another dog. They wear it so that across the finish line, the finishes are so close that the muzzles make them all have straight stops so they can see who came in first and who came in second. Isn't that interesting?
I've wondered why they do that, because they chase kind of a stuffed rabbit or stuffed
and that's
animal
another
of
point
some
we need
sort.
to make. They do not chase live animals. That they would not do that. They're artificial lures, and they're really trained, as Shaylin said, to chase by sight. They're sight hounds. They don't trace by scent like some of our other Labradors and Golden Retrievers and things like that. They chase by sight, and they hunt by sight.
This is very interesting, because I would have thought a greyhound would be a very hyper, busy animal and all, and this animal is very quiet, we watched him before the show. He was lying down, he took a little nap over there, and he just seems like he'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
How are they around other animals or things like that?
Very, very gentle around other animals. And of course, there's exceptions to each rule. They're all individuals, and just like any breed of dog, you can't put them all into one category. However, by and large, once they adapt into a home, they're very quiet, very gentle, and very calm.
Well, I notice we have all age boys and girls
Yes,
over
we
here.
do.
And obviously, like Reed and Wes are a little older, and so they're used to knowing how to act around animals. But we have Miss Maeve, and she's kind of on the young end of the deal, and she doesn't seem to be bothered by him.
No, and of course, Maeve, having grown up at Richland Animal Hospital, isn't bothered by too much of anything.
Now, speaking of animal hospitals, and it looks like we're going to have a really good time to think about not only our friends, the greyhounds, but there's National Pet Week coming up, and I think Maeve wants to help you tell about it today. Yes.
The first week in May is National Pet Week. That's May 1st through the 7th, and we are using this week in order to bring attention to those that support us without any hesitation, who are always there to love us and to be our companions, to protect us, to be a constant in our life that our pets so often are. We're using this week to highlight that. And we need to realize that during this week, let's do something we wouldn't normally do for our pet. And I don't mean to drive through the Dairy Queen and get them a cone.
No, we don't want to do that.
What I mean by that is to take that special moment to make sure that their ears are clean, their nails are trimmed, their coat is groomed, their vaccinations are current, that they're well cared for. Veterinarians, kennel owners, breeders, pet shops, all the people whose careers and lives depend on the health of our animals are dedicating the first week in May as National Pet Week just in honor of our loved pets.
That's marvelous. Reed, see if you'll come over there to you. And of course, one of the things we do want to remind folks about Dr. Roth is that if we have a pet or we're thinking about getting one of these wonderful greyhounds, that we do want to make sure that one of the first people they get to meet is our veterinarian.
Right. For a lot of reasons. Your veterinarian is the one who's going to tell you whether your new pet is healthy, whether it's going to be able to adapt into your home. Not all pets are suitable for all homes. Not every home would want a greyhound. If you live in an apartment, that might not be the best of all situations.
Although there are large animals that do live in apartments.
Yes, and with the right owners that will walk them and care for them, they do just fine. Or even the elderly dogs, they love small areas, so that's no problem too.
And he looks like he's going to have a great retirement with Shaylin and her younger sister and all. And again, while we're visiting these last few minutes, we do have the information where if you are interested in adopting a greyhound, and I believe one of your technicians at Richland Animal Hospital has adopted
Shaylin's
this one.
mommy, Jan, this is their dog, and she would be happy if you called Richland Animal Hospital
I was going to ask, would you mind
answer any
giving us
questions as well.
the phone number?
Yeah, our phone number is 284
You can let him go.
9285. Come here, Gulliver.
I'm sorry, one more time, Dr. Ross.
284-9285. And we can help you with any of your veterinary questions or questions about greyhounds.
And if we're interested in finding out a little bit more about National Pet Week, that again will be May
1st through the 7th. And it's there for a lot of reasons. It's not just to promote our animal health. It's there to highlight the love that way they have for us and our commitment to them. There are so many things that our pets do for us every day that we owe it to them. So things like feeding, what to feed, how often to feed, why you feed certain foods. We also like to take this time, we talked about a trip to the Dairy Queen, which is not a good idea, but obesity, over 40% of our pets are obese.
And that's as bad for them as it is for us.
Absolutely. We deal with heart disease.
Have a lie down there, Gulliver.
There you go.
Thank you.
Heart disease, joint breakdown from carrying around excessive weight, pancreatic disease, so many things that we see in the obese pet that can be prevented. We're so lucky that there are good diets to feed dogs that when we are in total control of these diets, we can feed them, they can lose weight, we can be successful. It's so much easier to do that than it is with ourselves.
And the one thing I want to reinforce to the boys and girls, like you mentioned, is, as you told us, no trips through the Dairy Queen. And if we aren't sure about what to feed our animals, like our wonderful new greyhound friend here, who's the best person for us to ask, Dr.
Oh,
Ross?
ask your veterinarian.
That's exactly right.
Oh, your veterinary technicians. They're also trained. Both my technicians are animal nutritionists and can answer questions about nutrition as well as vaccinations, and valuable.
We only have a couple of minutes left, and I know you're going to be back with us as we approach the summer months because there's some very important things we have to remember then. But this time of the year, in addition to National Pet Month and the ability that we have now to adopt these wonderful greyhounds, is there anything we need to be thinking about as the spring comes along and as we move into summer?
Now is the time for flea control. Now is the time. If you wait till it's summer and they all hatch out, you wait till it's summer and they're all hatched out, you're behind the game. Right now is the time to utilize the products that are available to us. We have some good products. Growth regulators that are environmentally safe. There's a new and upcoming environmentally safe program using beneficial nematodes, little microscopic...
Nematodes?
Yes,
I think we're going to have to get her back to talk about
nematodes. Microscopic worms that you put in your garden sprayer that we haven't even got them in the clinic yet. It's brand new and it's up and coming and we're real excited about it.
That is marvelous. Well, we have just barely a minute left, and I would like to thank all of my co-hosts today for joining us. Did you guys have a good time?
Yes.
Good. And Gulliver, how about you? And of course, our wonderful friend Dolores France from Imagine That, and Joyce Williams from the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History had to take off, and she couldn't stay with us at the end. But what do we say to Dr. Roth and Dolores for joining us today? That's right. Thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us. And we'll be back with you in a few weeks. Might even have Gulliver come back, and we'll be here on the Kids Corner. So thanks for being with us. Bye-bye. He is so cool. Look at him. He just no problem. Do you like him?
Oh, hey, I'm Tim Matthews. I'm getting these kids ready for Reebok's basketball, a 3-on-3 tournament for boys and girls, April 30th and May 1st at Valwood Business Park in Carrollton. The entry fee is $80 per team, and it benefits area youth rec programs. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper, Fuji, KSCS, K104, and of course, KTVT. You can register at all Grandy's, plus